Hello, my gorgeous woman, and welcome to Lingerie and Lattes for this week. I am so excited to talk about the difference again between men and women and understanding how we perceive what it means to live in life. So let me expand on that. First of all, I'm Olivia. I founded Vulcan Ability back in April of 2020 to help women and men create self-intimacy and be able to come up to their partners through a place of awareness and integration of their traumas. So when we think of the world in terms of black and white or different colors and shades of gray, more likely than not, a lot of men see it in a manner of black and white. Like either something is or isn't, there's no space for negotiation or saying there's exceptions or sometimes bending of the rules. Men like to see things in a very clear contrast manner, whereas a lot of women don't have that same outlook. We tend to see, yeah, it's black and white, but also there's a hinge of there's a tinge of gray here as well. So instead of feeling frustration for the partner and not having them understand us, we need to once again come back to biology and come back to the recognition that we can coexist by viewing the world differently. And actually, it strengthens us when we see it from our partner's perspective. And neither one of us is incorrect. So let's think about this. Are things black and white? Some things are. I would say judgment, fairness. There's a sense of rightness, rightness, righteous. So that would be related to the justice card in the tarot. That's a manner of finding a yes or no. And let's say murdering somebody for no reason is a clear, not good choice in your life. Like that is just a fact. Or an immutable fact that's also black and white is that a man and a woman can create a baby. So there are immutable laws that the universe follows that don't have any wiggle room. And this is how men view the world. So in a manner, they are correct. However, there's also an understanding of where women are coming from their thousand shades of gray on the spectrum of black and white. And we are also correct because there comes the topic of morality. The choices between, hurting people one way or another because of your choices. That's a moral issue, like having to decide between one scenario and another if each of them are exclusive. There's the classic examples of like choosing I don't know, these are kind of silly in my personal opinion, but like I think everyone's heard of them, like the drowning baby or like a dog or something, like the two. So in a sense, there are different shades of gray in life, and there isn't a clear black and white, yes, no, this is good, this is bad. Let's think about vices, for example. A lot of people claim that they are right in their everyday choices because they don't do X, Y, Z. To me, that's kind of a twisted outlook because you should be feeling righteous from your divinity. The righteousness and it's a contrast what I'm about to say, but it's a humbling sensation because it's not coming through your egoic self. It's not coming through your sense of understanding, but it's coming from something above and beyond and more knowledgeable, more conscious, and more ominous than you currently are because your existence is simply a droplet of the entirety. So when we think about feeling frustrated that men don't see the world the same way that let's say we do, or feeling frustrated that let's say your wife or your girlfriend is always living with this idea that there's shades of gray in the world. And I've heard this from my parents, I've heard this from many couples. It doesn't have to be a sense of argument. It doesn't have to be a sense of squabbling on which person is correct, because with those examples, there's applications to both. So yes, You are correct with the fact that the world is just black and white, because with certain acts of righteousness, there are immutable facts, and truth itself is black and white. If it isn't, then you're living in solipsism. Solipsism is a base of your own truth based on pretty much nothingness, because you've just created your own truth. However, that's not real truth. That's not absolute truth of laws that are immutable to the universe. Those laws cannot be bent, they cannot be avoided. So, such as the law of gender, the fact that everything has creation of masculine and feminine energies in order to be created. That is an immutable fact. Another one is what is it? This is all of the Hermetic principles. Look into them. I highly suggest it. So those are facts that are black and white. Whereas everyday life has choices that lead us to seeing the world as gray and not feeling, feeling a sense of confliction between choices. And so I'm getting to this point about vices, because a lot of people live in this righteousness of I don't drink coffee, so I must be doing something right. I'm doing that. But then, they'll be going out and buying a bunch of junk food and stuffing and binging on that. So there's always needs to be a balance of both of these truths, that the world is black and white as men see it, and there are a million shades of gray and exceptions, first time use cases that pop out of nowhere. And that leads us to a very complex world, because once again, we live in a dichotomy. But as you know, this is another law, as above, so below. So if we can understand that everything has a opposing end, then it makes sense that we have immutable truths, and we also have subjective experiences, because reality has to be founded upon truth. So reality itself is black and white. Reality is what is occurring, and it gets stripped away of all the stories. So for example, I am standing right now in my apartment speaking. That is an immutable truth. Everything else, what I'm talking about, how I'm projecting it, all of that can start to be a subjective experience. I hope this has, as always, been educational. Have an absolutely magical Friday. And if you don't know, my Vulcan Ability Library will now be hosting weekly meditations every Saturday morning, due to a client of mine requesting a lot more meditations from me, sharing that I've helped her explore her inner world in such a visual way. So I can't wait to start tomorrow morning. If you need the details, it's $25 a month right now if you're watching this in, where are we? In February of 2023. And please check out the link below. Thank you so much. Have an absolutely magical day.